When the Beast opened in 1979 at Kings Island, not only did it push roller coaster designers to build bigger and faster rides, it also inspired a bunch of roller coasters around the world with a name containing the word Beast. Since we just did a full episode on the Beast, it is now time to look at some of the others. In fact, all of them, each with their own interesting story and history. Once again, we start this story with John C. Allen at Kings Island itself.
Try to true, we're gonna fly, touch the sky, and have a blast. Do it fast, yeah, do it all, do it all. Yeah. Kings Island, do it all, do it all.
When Kings Island opened in 1972, the racer took the world by storm. It wasn't the only coaster addition to the park though. On the other side, in the happy land of Hanna-Barbera, was ScoobyDoo, a wooden roller coaster based on the first 3 designs John Allen did when he became Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters president in 1954, though this time he would make them a little taller and longer. After the Beast opened at the park in 1979, ScoobyDoo was renamed to the Beastie, and a tunnel was added to the bottom of the first drop in 1980. Over the years, it has been renamed again to Fairly Odd Coaster, and later, as a result of the Hanna-Barbera and Nickelodeon themes in 2010 being removed, it became the Woodstock Express, with a new Planet Snoopy makeover. The ride is a basic figure 8 layout and is identical nearly to coasters found at King's Dominion, Canada's Wonderland, and Carowinds. There have been 2 other roller coasters at major parks around the world that have used the name the Beastie. The first, of course, is the once iconic children's roller coaster at Alton Towers.
This is Alton Towers. And this is Alton Towers.
Originally located in the Festival Park area, now known as Dark Forest, it was under the name of the Mini Dragon in 1983. The Still family roller coaster made by Pininfarina was compact and had several head chopper effects. The ride has had quite a few locations throughout the park over the years. Beginning in Festival Park, it was later renamed to just Dragon Roller Coaster before moving to Thunder Valley in 1992. The ride finally got its name, the Beastie. Its final home was in Adventureland, when in 2009 it became the longest operating roller coaster in the park after Corkscrew was removed. In early 2011, it was announced the Beastie would not be opening again, and was finally removed before the 2013 season. 2 years later, Octonauts Roller Coaster Adventure, a Zamperla family coaster, took home at its former site. The ride was purchased by a UK travelling showman, Walt Murphy, where it was moved to Barry Island Pleasure Park in Wales with the new name Dragon Challenge. The Beastie was the perfect first coaster for children who visited Alton Towers, especially those who were unable to ride larger roller coasters in the park, and the one we're going to be talking about, the Alton Beast.
And a new arrival, a vast spine chiller of curves and spirals, aptly named the Beast.
Right behind Talbot Street at Alton Towers was a short-lived area where the park would install the Beast. Joining the 4-man Bob, and later in the same season the Alton Mouse, the section of the park became known as Coaster Corner. The Alton Beast will be marketed as the largest roller coaster in the UK, and became incredibly popular. When it opened in 1988, the green-tracked Jetstar 3 model from Schwarzkopf reached speeds of 45 miles per hour on its 2,862 feet of track. It was very similar, but not quite the same, to the enclosed black hole which had opened in 1984.
This is the real jewel in the crown, the black hole. And just to give you some idea of what I've let myself in for, we're going to be travelling at a stomach-churning 60 miles an hour through a vertical drop of 70 feet. I'm scared stiff.
The black hole was a Jetstar 2 model, not only being older, but was also smaller than the Beast, which had an extra spiral on the lift hill, making it taller with a larger drop. The trains, however, were nearly identical. When the Beast arrived at Alton Towers, it was second-hand and had no trains, but the same year they also updated the Black Hole to become the Black Hole 2. While the Black Hole got the brand new trains, its older trains were put onto the Beast.
Kylie, now you've seen it, do you fancy the ride on the Alton Towers Mount?
Well, I was just saying it looks bigger standing right here than it did from the helicopter. It looked quite tiny, I thought, oh. But no, it looks great and it's clean.
When the Alton Mouse was added and opened by Kylie Minogue, Staffordshire Moorlands District Council stated that the new attraction did not have planning permission and should not be operating. Alton, however, claimed they were covered by a general development order. The following year, in 1989, the council decreed that the park must remove the two rides before the end of November, due to the visual and oral intrusion outside of the Alton Towers estate. Both of the rides resided on a ridge in a conservation area alongside the estate's 19th century flag tower, a Grade 2 listed building. It was found that the planning permission for the Beast had expired, while the Mouse just had none at all. After negotiations with John Broome, owner of Alton Towers, the council announced they would be allowed to operate until the end of 1991, due to the need to keep Alton competitive and help the local economy. As usual, the residents of Alton were not happy, touting it as an appalling decision, complaining that the noise was similar to someone tipping over steel sheets every 30 seconds. Oh, and don't forget the screams. They were stating it sounded like people were being murdered outside. Classic. The promised removal was also linked to a rumour to guarantee council approval for a substitute ride, the Gravity Ride, stated to replace the Beast and the Mouse, but it would be a few hundred feet further away. When the residents were asked if that would be enough, he said no, it will just be more racket for people in the village. Alton's response? It isn't as bad as someone mowing their lawn next door. And as promised, the Alton Mouse and Alton Beast were removed at the end of the 1991 season. The Alton Mouse never returned, as it was being leased and sent to Idlewild Park in Pennsylvania. Other coasters in the US with the name Beast include the Beast Mountain Coaster in Vermont, a 4,800-foot-long alpine coaster that opened in 2015 at Killington Resort, and the now extinct Big Beast or Wild Beast roller coaster at Edgewater Park in Detroit, Michigan. This one opened in 1927 and was rebuilt multiple times until 1981, when it closed along with the park. As for Alton Towers, it wasn't the end for the Beast. It was sent for refurbishment by Stein, who had taken over the Schwarzkopf factory at the time and returned, now painted red, as the new Beast in Thunder Valley for the 1992 season, where it would stand until it was removed to, prepare for air.
Assume the position. Now fly.
Many people thought this return was a new Jetstar 3, but it was later proven to be the exact same one. After its removal, it was sent to Mexico, known as Space Mountain, and later again moved to Colombia, where it became known as the Tornado until 2017. In the late 80s, the Alton Beast was one of the biggest roller coasters in the UK, and an iconic coaster of the park. The UK, however, also had another coaster with the name Beast, at the now defunct Camelot theme park in Chorley, Lancashire.
Legend has it there is a land where knights battle for honor, where dragons fly through the air, where you can experience your wildest dreams or your darkest nightmares.
This time a still-powered enclosed roller coaster in the dark. When it first opened in 1983, it was known as the Nightmare and located outside. A mountain was built over the ride and it was then changed to Space Mountain in 1985, before being rethemed again as the Beast in 1988. The park also added audio to make it somewhat of a themed experience. Camelot were clearly always really original with their ride names. It would again be renamed to Venom in the mid-90s. In 2000, the building was removed and the ride taken down for the expansion of the Castle Entertainment Centre. When the park began to struggle and this ride was cancelled, it returned, still called Venom. After this, it was sent to a fun fair in Wales for 2 years before being refurbished and operates today at Camel Creek Adventure Park in Cornwall, England. As for the other Beastie, we have to head to the other side of the world to another now extinct park.
Come on out this weekend and join the fun at Australia's Wonderland.
Australia's Wonderland, the greatest fun you'll ever have.
Just 50 minutes from city centre, open weekends only, Sydney's greatest fun entertainment value.
While I'm not going to go too in depth on the overall history of the park, since it deserves its own Expedition Extinct, we'll just keep this one short. Wonderland Sydney opened in 1985, originally known as Australia's Wonderland. Costing 65 million Australian dollars, it was designed as an alternative to the troubled Luna Park. Located in Eastern Crete, Sydney, it was the largest in the Southern Hemisphere, owned and operated by the King's Entertainment Company. Its opening years follow a similar early story to other King's Entertainment parks, such as Canada's Wonderland and Kings Island itself. In fact, it was heavily influenced around the Toronto theme park.
For a bit of lively adventure during the day, take the kids out to Australia's Wonderland with its outrageous roller coaster and water slide.
And once again, we are back to wooden roller coasters. The largest wooden coaster in the Southern Hemisphere, Bush Beast, costing 3 million Australian dollars to create. And the Bush Beast, in turn, brings us back to our final roller coaster with the name Beast. Wild Beast at Canada's Wonderland. Wild Beast opened in 1981 as one of the 2 wooden roller coasters in the park, modelled after a ride at Cincinnati's Coney Island. This time, Wildcat. The other one is the mighty Canadian Mindbuster, a version of the Shooting Star. Wild Beast has a double out and back experience in a figure-8 design. Designed by Curtis D. Summers, based on the Wildcat design of Herbert Schmeck and constructed in-house, it takes guests on a 2-minute trip reaching speeds of 56 miles per hour. The Wild Beast design would continue to be used throughout the other TAF parks, including Grizzly in 1982 at King's Dominion, and in 1985, you guessed it, Sydney's Wonderland with the Bush Beast. It was once again used 1 year later as well at Grizzly at California's Great America. While some of them are mirrored and some are slightly different, they all retain the same experience. Bush Beast opened with the park in 1985, and sadly also closed with it in April 2004, before it was demolished in August of 2005.
For most people here today, the last day of Wonderland is all about memories, like remembering the first time you took a ride on the Bush Beast.
Along with it at the opening came a smaller roller coaster known as the Beastie. While the Bush Beast reached 90 feet in height and lasted just over 2 minutes, the Beastie only reached 48 feet in height and was a smaller version of the larger ride to offer something for the whole family, especially children. It actually closed 2 years before the park in 2002. One thing to note though is that while the Bush Beast was not similar to the original Beast at Kings Island, it used the very iconic logo of the classic, and with that it brings us once again to Kings Island, which of course had more than one Beast, the son of Beast. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Expedition Theme Park. If you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe to join the expedition. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram for updates on upcoming videos, and a special thank you to our Patreons for supporting the channel. We will see you next time.